Some officials in Cleveland are trying to give people a voice in Cleveland's government. Public comment periods are a common cornerstone in any public meeting, but not at Cleveland City Council.
But some momentum is building to change all that. News 5's Jordan Vandenberg, he joins us live with more on the grassroots efforts and those who have come out in support of it. Hey, Jordan.
Good evening. Well, there was once a time where public comment periods were the law of the land here in Cleveland, but to find that, you have to go back nearly a century, all the way back to 1932. That is when it ended. But to find the reason why there's this recent groundswell of support, all you have to do is look back 6 months. City Hall faces the people for a reason.
Democracy is about the voices of the people.
And on its front steps,
I'm here today because I believe in democracy.
A not so subtle reminder of it.
How can City Council work for, support, and represent people whose voices are silenced?
The aptly named Clevelanders for Public Comment have drafted legislation to bring public comment back to City Council meetings and committee hearings, often taken for granted in other cities. It has been missing in Cleveland for decades.
And I can tell you that Cleveland is an outlier.
That absence and its impact on civic engagement is why the organization believes voter turnout declined in the 2020 elections.
Touch points with local government matter. While public comment is not a cure-all, it will contribute to a culture of citizen involvement and engagement.
Councilwoman Jenny Spencer is one of 7 on council to publicly support the proposed ordinance that the organization has drafted. Under the proposal, full council meetings would have 30 minutes set aside for public comment. Speakers would have to register beforehand and would be limited to 3 minutes. Attorney Jessica Trevisano researched the issue and says it strikes a reasonable balance.
An ordinance that's really hard to deny is good policy for the residents and for the city.
You want to come in and let your voice be heard on a specific subject, specific ordinance or issue, be our guest. That's what democracy is all about.
Councilman Michael Polensek, the so-called dean of City Council, says putting public comment into the city's law books makes it clear that the public is part of the legislative process. It's also how he got his start more than 4 decades ago.
I was a neighborhood activist before I became a councilman. I would come to council meetings. I was involved in civic associations. That's the way it was drilled into me by my late mother. This is your neighborhood, be involved in it. To me, that's what being a citizen of Cleveland is all about.
Officials say the ordinance could be introduced at council in as quickly about a week, so about a week from today. Courtney.
All right, Jordan. So if this is introduced, what would be the next steps?
Well, as is the case with other pieces of legislation, it would be introduced before the committee. In this particular case, it would be introduced at the Rules Committee, which is chaired by Council President Kevin Kelly. I asked Councilman Kelly about this whole discussion about public comment periods during his mayoral announcement last week, and this is what he had to say.
It's certainly something that I'm open to, but I really think that when the public wants to see information, when the public is looking for records, they own it. They have a right to it, and I'm very committed to transparency and open government.
And Council President Kelly says he's already tasked some researchers and some other officials associated with council to begin studying the issue. Back to you.